Thank you very much, Nadine. Hello, everybody from my side. My name is Manuel Melkonian. As mentioned from Nadine, I'm the general manager at MobileIron, and I'm trying to support our partners, for example, like Nomasis, to make sure that we can deliver these kind of information to our customers, right? So everybody can stay safe. But and also, of course, I have my colleague with me, Stefan Feike. He's our senior sales engineer and mobile security expert. He will, as always, make sure that I'm be very correctly here and try to give you all the right information that you guys need. Okay, let's start with, I would say of course, we want to tell you guys today what we want to show you, right? So today we want to tell you what we know about the security floor right now. We want to tell you what we can do right now to make sure that nobody gets compromised. And of course, we want to ask the question, what does it mean to see another RCE on a mobile platform? Doesn't matter if it's Apple or Android, right? And how can we protect ourselves better in the future? These are 4 questions that we think, and we thought about it, that these are the questions our customers ask us right now at the moment. And that's why we try to help together with the Nomasis together and give you guys a small update. And we are also here for some additional questions. So what do we know, right? And with what do we know? It's a very broad sentence here, because this is actually done by a research group, not at MobileIron, right? So we are going here on the SecOps team. The SecOps research team found that vulnerability in Apple Mail, and of course they talked about it, and they have also some information on their blog which they tried to disclose for everybody to see what is going on. And I think we have here lots of small details. Not all of them are really big here, but I think some of them Stefan will put a spot on to highlight a little bit to see some points here.
Yeah, so initially, hello, first of all, to this bright audience, and I would like to highlight some important stuff here. So the vulnerability was found with inside the mail application by the SecOps security researcher team, and they disclosed some information about the way how to accomplish or how to abuse this vulnerability on every single device. So RCE stands for remote code execution, which means it is an attack vector which exists for a very long time. So the first known RCE attack happened back in 1988. During this time, roughly 60,000 endpoints were part of the internet, and more than 10% were shut down during this attack. And if you look back to into the history of operating systems and applications, there are a lot of RCEs disclosed. There were a lot of RCEs disclosed. Some of them were abused, so we come later on to some other examples here. And as Nadine already said, the current RCE inside the Mail app with the current and previous versions of the operating system from Apple focuses on, or at least offers the ability to the attacker to modify email content there. So emails can be forwarded, deleted, or manipulated, edited, so to say, and but you do not really know what this vulnerability might offer to really serious hackers or hire a hacker companies, and that's why this is can be seen as a really critical issue here. So
exactly,
Manuel.
and of course, we if we talk about changing contents in an email, right? Especially trying to steal the identity from some internal persons in a company and trying to sending mail, stuff like that. So yes, of course, Apple, and this is one thing we need to highlight here, Apple is totally right in saying that there is no sandbox outbreak at the moment, right? So till today, there's no sandbox outbreak we know of till today. And that's really true, because there's a really sophisticated system in place at Apple, right, to make sure that this will not happen. But first of all, of course, stuff can happen, but this is nothing we don't want to talk about what could be and what should, right? So we want to talk about what is happening right now. And what is happening right now, it's true that you can only change some contents in an email. But as you all know, it's a very easy way to try to steal credentials from someone in a company or stuff like that, right? So of course, every vulnerability is kind of critical, especially if we talk about some very important stuff like email, right? Because email is our daily driver in all of our business operations. So here we have some additional information on this Imperium blog, and I also want to highlight a statement, and I think Stefan, you forwarded me that statement. I think that's a very important statement here to make sure what is really happening, right? So it is important to note that in order to compromise the entire device, for example, by exploding the kernel, the vulnerabilities would need to be exploited, and the attacker need to create a way, exit the mail app, exit the sandbox, right? So just to make clear for everybody, this is not something some script kiddie can do just by looking up some sample codes in the internet, right? So we are talking here about vulnerability. It's very critical, right? It's a zero-click one, but at the end, we don't have any evidence that something really did happening or someone did get out of that sandbox, right? But as we all know as well, some hackers try not to go public if they hack someone. So there is always some dark numbers here as well. Again, this is the reason we do this, right? We are not here because someone found some security hole somewhere, right? If we would do that, we have had every week some webinars about that, right? We did this especially because the BSI, the German Institute, did send out a warning for that, and that's the reason why our customers did all come to us and ask us, okay, guys, what should we do, right? You are the mobile security guy, what should we do? So this is why we start to help together with our partners to give the information to our customers that they really need to make sure that they can sleep tight, right? And they don't need to be panicking or do some bad decisions because of that. So here, Stefan, there is some information about the RCE. I think you already talked about that, but I think one point is very important here to add. RCE, as mentioned before, remote code execution. That means you have the capability to execute code in that new app, right? In that app that you have the vulnerabilities. And this is a very bad thing, especially if we talk about zero clicks. So the user doesn't have to do anything for it. So keep that in mind. Yeah, please.
Sorry, Mario. So the zero click only applies to iOS 13 on iOS. So the vulnerability can be triggered just by sending an email to a dedicated recipient, and then the vulnerability and the code can be executed. On iOS 12, the vulnerability needs to get this email opened by the end user. So the initial idea of an RCE was previously published by Google Zero, Project Zero, and it was shown during the Black Hat conference last year.
Exactly. Okay, and yeah, as we talked about RCE, and this is a really important thing here as well. So we don't, of course, we have now the Apple Mail headline, right? And of course, this is something really important here. But this is not the first thing we heard, right? And you guys know it. We have lots of threats all the time, and not only on iOS or only on Android, right? They are sharing. They're sharing their vulnerabilities every time. And sometimes you have even, for example, WhatsApp. This was the latest CVE where they used a third-party library, and the third-party library was hacked, or there was a flaw in there, so the hackers can use that third-party library to hack WhatsApp. It's a very bad thing, because right now you can then hack Android, you can hack iOS, you can hack Windows, and even Tizen, right? So someone is using Tizen and get hacked via WhatsApp. That's a very bad thing. So at the end, the abilities are not exclusive to one platform.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for WhatsApp, the vulnerability existed in a third-party library, which was part of WhatsApp. And so this vulnerability there was abused by delivering malicious code to the device. So in fact, it was Pegasus there. And that's why it was possible for the attackers to fully compromise a single device. And so not only, just to highlight this, that not only mobile platforms are affected at the moment. So if you look back for, I don't know, the last couple of weeks, or even yesterday or 2 days before, there was this really strange bug, or it isn't really a bug, it is a really vulnerability inside Teams, where you can only send a manipulated GIF, and then you can exfiltrate all the organizational data from after this. And this is really
only via the Teams app, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can see RCEs, they exist for a very long time, and I assume that they will be part of our mobile future for the next couple of years as well, because it is just code, and code runs on hardware, and hardware might have vulnerabilities as well. Same applies to the software, to applications or operating systems as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think this is a very important point here, right? Because we don't want to try here to make sure that Apple has a bad reputation, or Android, or Windows, or stuff like that. No, we all know that these systems are complex, right? They have a really big complexity, and that's why we need to go forward in a more secure direction, right? So instant help is needed, or if needed, we can deliver here 3 points. Of course, deactivate the mail app, use Email Plus, our secure email client with container from MobileIron, or of course use an alternative for that. There are some alternative in the App Store that you can use, or on the MobileIron marketplace. Deactivate the mail you can do via MobileIron global policy. Can you deactivate the mail app? And of course, it's good thing to add. Of course, right now it's a very good point, but it's generally good to add a second security layer, or any kind of security layer on the mobile phones, right? And this is, I think, one of the big points for us, because what does it mean, right? So it does not mean that mobile attacks only kind of like headlines, because this slide, we used that slide 3 years ago, right? And yeah, they started headlines, or we used a similar slide 3 years ago. Doesn't matter. The point is, we are not talking about headlines anymore. Mobile operating systems. And I want to make a really big point here for that again, right? Mobile operating systems are way much more secure than any desktop OS we have right now. But it doesn't mean that they are 100% secure. And this is what we saw the last 2-3 years, extremely strong, right? And we saw it, if we look back even to the first versions, every version was kind of like with some major security flaws. Everybody knew someone or did some jailbreak on their iPhone or stuff like that. These were all security flaws in systems, right? So that's what we are talking about here right now is, what does it really mean? That doesn't mean that we use mobile security. We need to use mobile security on our mobile devices as well as on our desktop devices. If we use critical business information on our mobile devices, and to be quite honest, email counts for me as critical for my business, because I do 90% all of that we have in our emails. We have attachments, so on. So email, if you are using email on your phone, you're using a critical business thing on your phone. And this is why we see there is time, or the time is come up now to make sure that we are seeing the mobile devices as well as the desktop devices in one security view, right? So we need to make sure that these devices are secure. Doesn't matter how big or how small these devices are. If they have our company data on it, we need to make sure that these devices are secure. We cannot wait for some news that are telling us, okay, today you need to wake up and delete Mail app. Tomorrow you need to wake up and delete Gmail or stuff like this, right? This is not a security solution that we can work for a long time. And we need to do it. We need to think about for a long time. But because if you look at some web pages like Zerodium, where you get payouts for some critical vulnerabilities. And if you look here, for example, really close in the third line from down, you see email app, RCE plus LPE. So this is exactly what is missing here on this hack right now. So right now we have an we have an email app RCE hack, but there is no LPE. LPE stands for local privilege escalation. So as exactly what Apple and every researcher is saying, that yeah, we have an RCE here, but no one figured out the local privilege escalation. No one figured out how to elevate their own privileges in the device so they can be, for example, super user or so on. So they can start manipulating the device. Okay, and as you see here, there are lots of different kinds of vulnerabilities that you can find, that you can get money for, that you can buy on the darknet, stuff like that. So this is a market, and this is something we need to be aware of, right? So that there is someone out there who is paying up to $2 million for a 0-day click on iOS or 2.5 on Android, right? These are real numbers on a real marketplace.
I think it's quite clear that the more an operating system is in use out in the field, the more attractive it will get for any sort of hackers, attackers. And if you just simply compare the payouts from the operating system vendors or application vendors, how much they pay if you find a vulnerability or a bug or something like this, and compare this one with this more or less official platform where you can sell those payouts, sell those vulnerabilities or attacks to a research platform, so to say, then there's a huge difference. So that's why it might be quite difficult for a white hat hacker who is focusing more on an official research or security research rather than doing the black hat stuff to withstand those offerings here at from Zerodium as an example.
Yeah.
And on the other side, if you sell those stuff in the darknet, so there are a lot of platforms there available where you can buy those stuff. So there's a well-known term, hire a hacker. So you can go there and say, okay, this is my target, just try to get as much information out of it, and I need this and this and that information, and then off he goes, and then you need to pay them, and then you will get a result. So it's only a question of time and money you want to spend.
Yeah, and I think this just makes for us. So this is what we see here, what we see when we see some vulnerabilities like that, and we also see the response, right? And this is what we as MobileIron, we say, okay, so how can we protect ourselves better in the future? This is our next thinking, right? Because first of all, we know what is happening right now. We have a fix to fix the problem right now, right? So that till the next update patch is here, we are secure. And we try to figure out what does it really mean for all of us, right? And the next part, I think that's a very important part of us, is of course how can we protect ourselves better, right? And of course, at the end, MobileIron has something to sell here, right? No surprise here. But this is the reason why we did it in this kind of format, right? Because this is exactly what we are talking since 2 years or even longer, right? We talk about, guys, we use our mobile devices more and more frequently. And we have lots of good mobile devices because there's a really nice way of delivering the operating system on mobile devices, right? It's way much securer than on desktop and so on. So we had a really long time where we didn't need any kind of security on our mobile devices. And of course, the hackers were not, this was new for them as well, right? They were totally fixated on their desktop devices and enterprise customers. And now the traditional hackers can see, of course, the mobile device as a viable hacking problem for him or target, as well as the desktop machines. So that's why we say with MobileIron threat defense, this is why we think a second security layer is necessary nowadays, right? We have too much data on the phones, we have too much stuff there. So what we want to do and what we want to promote here is that you guys need to make sure that you have at least a second security layer. That means that you can automate stuff like someone downloads an app that's very bad on your phone or does some vulnerabilities, that you have automation in place, that someone clicks on a phishing mail, automation started happening, right? Someone gets hacked on a man in the middle attack, stuff like that. We need to make sure something happening automatically and not when someone gets the information out in the news and say, oh shit, nobody should use a mail app anymore, we should look as an alternative or stuff like that, right? This is something we need to make sure that this means this is streamlined, right? Automated and streamlined. And this is why we like to promote MobileIron threat defense here. Because of course with MobileIron and MobileIron Access, you can deliver most of our security products, right? Especially if we talk about right now, if we look the MobileIron overview and we talk about this, the thing that's happening right now, the incident with the mail, right? So if, for example, someone is using the whole MobileIron set, that's very easy, right? It's very secure for them. If you use a mobile-centric zero trust approach, there's no way this hacker could have any chance of getting to you, even if he comes out of the sandbox or stuff like this. Why? Yeah, it's very easy. With MobileIron Sentry and UEM, we get everything in place to deliver configurations, everything around MobileIron, right? So now the hacker is on your email client, as we said, it could be a possibility, and he tries to change your emails or stole some credentials from your company. But your company is using MobileIron Access. So the funny thing here is, if the hacker got some credentials and tries to log in from somewhere with these credentials, you block this hacker, right? Because the hacker needs to have a device managed by MobileIron to get access to the company data. So we have here a double security flag. And if the hacker, because it's a really good one, for example, he managed to get out of the sandbox, then MobileIron threat defense will be here and tell all the data, hey guys, you need to just clean up this device. Someone is hacking here on that device. So we delete all company information. And as soon as the device is again clean or ready to work again, we can bring back our company data. So we have the whole zero trust approach with MobileIron. No hacker has any chance of getting here. On that way, on that model of that example we had today, there was no way for the hacker to get into a MobileIron customer. And that's what we wanted to talk to you today, to show you what you can do to protect yourself, and of course to give you some small information what MobileIron can do if you want to go really secure. I think it's from my side. Stefan, do you have anything else to add to this?
Basically, no. So at the moment, there are still some question marks regarding the RCE. Because there's no CVE filed yet. Apple is pushing out an update in the near future, as it was already validated by ZagOps that the latest beta already included a fix there. And just the side information, the owner of ZagOps, the company, is the founder of Zimperium as well, and MobileIron Threat Defense uses the technology as an OEM integration from Zimperium.
Yeah,
that's
exactly perfect. So if you have now any questions, please feel free to ask. We would like to answer every question. If we are not able to do it right now, we promise you we will deliver you some information afterwards as well. Nadine, I think we are ready.
Thank you. I did not receive any questions during your speech. So
maybe anybody wants to answer, wants to ask a question live. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Feel free.
I can
unmute them.
Yeah, what I can do, what I can tell you right now is what the question was that we had last time, for example, was how big needs to be the email, for example, to get to use that exploit on Apple Mail, right? Stefan, this was also a question last time.
Exactly.
And I think you told something about 3 gigabytes, right?
Yes and no. It really depends on the hardware. So the older the hardware is, the less RAM it is equipped with. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the email needs to have a certain size of it. So there were a rumor around 3 gigabytes or something like this. This would usually be blocked either on the source email system or on the target email system, or even on the limitations on the sync side, that you block a certain size of email attachments there. But on the other side, it really depends on how the email itself is composed. So you can use multi-part there. So if anybody is really aware of the different parts of an email, the MIME structures and all the other things, is that that you can see, okay, I only need to say, okay, my email is consists of multiple parts of it, and then it more or less emulates a bigger size of it, and that's why that's how the RCE can be triggered as well. So it doesn't really necessarily mean it needs to be 3 gigabyte in size. It really depends on the on the structure of the email.
Okay, perfect.
So as there are no further questions, I think we will end this webinar at this point. For further information on this topic, you can also contact Nomasis at any time. Thank you all for joining, and have a nice day.
And stay safe.